According to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Churchill was the enemy number one for India, and yet he thought that it was a blessing in disguise that he is at the helm of the affairs, because there cannot be any compromise with Churchill, and therefore Netaji considered it was a blessing, because then all Indians will put their mind and soul and everything together to win the freedom. Replica of excerpt from the broadcast in this connection. I decided to make a short tour of Europe once again in order to gather first-hand impressions of the most recent developments. During this tour, I have been in parts of Europe which are called the occupied territories. I have been in some of the new states like Slovakia that have come into existence after the outbreak of the present war. And I have been to countries like Italy, which are actively engaged in a grim struggle with Anglo-American imperialism. Finding myself in Berlin once again, I am now accepting the hospitality of the shortwave station here in order to speak to you on the situation I see and on our task also at home. He goes on to say, we have learned from the worst history that it is an irony of fate that the staunchest champions of imperialism always manage to hasten its end. Reactionary and oppressive rulers like Lord Curzon have always done more to rouse and strengthen the forces of nationalism than the so-called friends of India like Lord Ripon or Lord Irwin. We should indeed be grateful to the Providence that at the most opportune moment he ordained that Mr. Winston Churchill should be at the helm of affairs in Britain. Mr. Churchill's premiership is for India the surest guarantee that there will be no compromise between British government and the Indian nation, that India would achieve her goal of independence before long. Let us therefore pray that he may continue to rule over the destinies of the British Empire during the hour of its final gruesome collapse. Also, let the Liberal and Democrats, for example, Sir Stafford Cripps, who in reality constitutes a greater menace for India's independence, be thrown out so that to eliminate all possibilities of creating confusion in the minds of Indian nationalists. Friends, we see that in United States of America, a large section of the public are genuinely interested in Indian independence and openly criticize British government. On the other hand, government and those who hold the reins of power are pursuing a policy which, frankly speaking, can only be described as American imperialism. In fact, a definite school of thought has grown up in the USA which loudly proclaims that the present century belongs to the USA and that the British Empire should voluntarily make room for it. Strangest of all is the fact that the theory of an American world empire has already found an echo across the Atlantic, and several prominent and serious British thinkers are directly or indirectly giving their support to this theory. They are, however, of the opinion that while Britain should recognize and accept American supremacy in the world affair, America, for her part, should allow the British Empire to exist with its dependencies and not interfere in the internal affairs of that empire. The public in United States of America are by no means satisfied with the policies of Mr. Churchill and his imperialist colleagues in relation to India. But they can do nothing to alter the present state of things. The partnership of President Roosevelt and Premier Churchill is going to endure, and the former knows that the later, the junior partner, will go on taking orders from him so long as Britain's imperial policy is not interfered with. Friends, let us now dispassionately sum up the situation as one sees it today. In the Far East, the Anglo-American powers have been trounced. From Europe, British power has been eliminated completely. All talk of a second front is like children's dream. All that the Anglo-American powers can do now is to seek battles and wars in the African continent at the expense of the helpless French Empire. But it is Europe and Asia and not Africa that will decide the fate of this war. As sure as day follows night, India will emerge from the struggle as an independent state. And as sure as day follows night, I will live to participate in the final struggle for liberty, not from abroad, but at home, side by side with the comrades who have been bravely carrying on the fight while I have been away on duty. Inqilab Zindabad, Azad Hind Zindabad.